JavaScript array has 37 methods in total, but as a junior developer, likely only 7 of them you will be asked during your technical interview. And in today's video, we are going to talk about these 7 JavaScript array methods each junior developer should know. But before we jump into the VS Code, make sure to subscribe and hit the like button to not miss the new videos. So the first method is filter. As you can understand from the naming, it helps us to filter out elements from the array. We are going to use employees array as a sample. So for the first case, we need to get all married employees. And what we need to do is to create a new variable and assign to it a filter method call on the employees array. The method takes a single function, which is going to be executed with each element of the array, and accepts employee as a first parameter, which is the current element being processed in the array. And this function should return either a truthy to keep the element in the resulting array, or a falsy value otherwise. So in our example, we just return isMarried property. And as a result, we have a new array, which contains all employees with the true value in isMarried property. But if we want to get all unmarried employees, we can simply put logical not operator before returning isMarried property. This way, all falsy values become truthy, thus added to the new array. The second method we are going to take a look on is map. In this case, we want to remove all sensitive data from each employee object, such as amount of children, salary, and marriage status. So let's call it anonymized employees, and then call the map method on the employees array. So for the map method, we also pass a single function with a single parameter in it. And for the return value, we have an object with name and ID properties. So what this method does is creates a new array filled with the result of calling the provided function on every element in the employees array. And as we can see in the console, we have only ID and name objects in the array. The next method we are going to cover is sort. You can find it handy while working with lists or tables of data, where you need to sort elements based on some property. And in this example, we want to sort our employees based on their salaries. This method accepts a single function but now with 2 parameters in it. Employee 1 and employee 2 are the first and second elements for the comparison respectively. And this function expects the return value to be greater than 0 if you want to sort employee 1 after employee 2, lower than 0 if you want to sort employee 1 before employee 2, and equal to 0 if you want to keep the original order of employees. But to not overcomplicate things, just keep in mind, if you want to have an ascending order of elements, just subtract first element from the second, and for the descending order, second element from the first. So back to our example, we subtract the salary of the employee 1 from the salary of employee 2, and as a result we have the sorted array of employees based on their salaries. And to have the descending order, we just subtract salary of employee 2 from salary of employee 1. So in the console we have the array sorted in descending order. One important thing to notice is that sorting happens in place. It means that method doesn't create a new array, but returns the reference to the employees array. So further changes to the sorted employees array will also affect the original employees array. Thus, make sure that you copy your array before sorting. So far we have learned how to modify, filter and sort the elements in the array. The next 4 methods will allow us to kind of analyze the array and gather information based on the whole collection of elements. The next 2 methods we are going to learn are every and sum. In this case, we need to find out are all employees have children. And we can simply do that with the every method. As always, we need to call this method on the employees array, pass a function with a single argument, and return the condition where we check if employee has more than 0 children. And what the method does is test whether all elements in the array pass the test implemented by the provided function. So if all employees have more than 0 children, the resulting value will be true. But if at least one has 0, the result will be false. But if you want to know if any of employees have children, we can use this similar method called sum. This method is not that strict like every, so if any of the values return true, the resulting value will be true. But only if all tests are false, then the result will be false. The next method is useful if you need to find an element and do some actions with it. And this method is called find. In our case, we want to find an employee with the ID 3. This method takes the provided function and checks if the return value is true, then returns the element. Otherwise, goes to the next element in the array. So in the console we can see the found employee. We can also find employees by the name. There are two small things that you need to know while working with this method. If there are no elements found, the return value will be undefined. And if there are more than one found, the returned will be the one that was found first. And the last one method we are going to take a look on is reduce. And in this case we need to calculate the average salary of all employees. So let's take the employees array and call the reduce method. And as always we need to pass a function which is going to be called for each element in the array. And the first argument of the function is accumulator. This is the resulting value of the previous calls of the provided function, and as usual the second argument is the current element. So to get the average salary of all employees, we need to summarize all salaries first. Then provide the second argument of the reduce method, which is the initial value of the accumulator, about which we are going to talk in 1 minute. Once we get the total value of the all salaries of employees, we need to divide it by the amount of the employees in the array. As a result, we can see in the console the average salary of all employees. Back to the method and its second argument. As I said, it's the initial value of the accumulator. So let's take a look on this example. Let's say we need to get the summary of all salaries, so we'll remove the dividing and the initial value for now, and leave only the combination of salaries. And if you take a look at the console, there is some weird result. It may happen with you if your silly head forgot to put the initial value of the accumulator. And if there is no initial value, the accumulator equals to the first element of the array. That's why when the JavaScript tries to add both values, it converts them to the strings, since on the first call of the provided function, the accumulator equals to 0 index element of the employees array. But this happens only when we use the adding operator. So when we try to use the multiplying operator, the result will be not that friendly, since JavaScript can't multiply an object and a number, so it gives the not a number result. Thus, you need to double check yourself to not break a production. And that's it. Thanks for watching. Make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel. There are more new videos coming soon.